Hi, I'm Shilpa.
I'm Dan.
And this week we're talking about how to deal with your parents arguing.
Am I? I don't know.
So it can be a really difficult time if you experience your parents or your carers arguing with each other.
When you're young, it's really difficult to imagine the adult people in your life as human beings. They're just
Having
these
feelings
yeah,
as well.
because you just see them as kind of, sometimes they can be like superheroes to you, or sometimes they're just
It's their role to look after you.
Right.
Yeah.
But they are people with feelings and their own problems, and sometimes they bring those things into the argument.
Sometimes children can feel like it's their fault.
Especially when it's two people who you care about, your parents or carers, it's always easy to kind of slip into that thing, oh, so why are they doing that? Have I done something? And you do jump to immediately blaming yourself. And it's important to remember that when people are having an argument, it's their argument. It's not your fault at all. My parents, I remember when they were having arguments, I definitely felt like, oh, I've done this, because a lot of the time they were arguing about something to do with me, but that doesn't mean it was my fault.
And dealing with the responsibility of having a family or stress and pressure.
And there's a lot of
on the family.
pressure being an adult, and like you say, having to care for a family and having to keep a job and things like that. So all of these things are going to add up, and they can be quite combustible elements, and they're going to cause a bit of a fight. But that is the problem, rather than any one person or even any one issue.
Do you think they understand how arguments can affect their children?
Arguments can be quite selfish, and I don't mean that in terms of you are being a selfish person while arguing. When you're arguing, the world around you can close off. Your arguments can affect people around you, people who see it, people who hear it.
And as you were saying, it's those two people inside the argument. So maybe your parents don't understand or are aware that they are actually upsetting you.
Talking to the person after the argument. So when you get into that conversation, you can maybe mention the fact that, yeah, that had an effect on me. Helping them understand, which they may not have noticed, will possibly affect the way that they approach discussions and differences going forward.
When arguments maybe start escalating and you are a little bit worried about your well-being, that it's really important to talk to somebody you trust. You can talk to Childline in confidence.
Talking is really healthy.
Yes.
Letting people know your feelings is healthy.
We hear a lot of young people telling Childline that they are affected by the way that their parents are behaving, so it's important that you have that release as well.
Yeah, it's really difficult to admit when things are upsetting you, and that's anything in life.
Thank you so much, Dan.
Thanks for having me.
And we'll see you next week. Bye.